Good afternoon to all the good viewers of this program who are watching this program with us in the English language, whether it's your very first time or you've been watching it for many, many weeks and months. Allow me to share the link of this program on our Telegram page for anybody who wants to watch it live. And that way I can also view it with you. And if there's any programs, I'll be able to fix it, what we are showing you. Let me bring up the chat as well. Good afternoon to all the people that are going to be chatting with us in the chat while we have this program going on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you the page that we are reading from. We're going to be continuing with part 17 of Musa al-Kazim, the sadistic serial killer, who did a lot of inbreeding with his own children to create kids that he wanted to send to war against the Abbasid Khalifa, only because he wanted to somehow take the government of Islam under his hand so that he can take more money. And through this idea, he was trying to fool people into believing that he is handpicked by this statue god that the Muslims have named Allah. So the Muslims, of course, unfortunately don't know their religion, and hence they don't know they have a statue that they're worshiping named Allah. But the proof is all over Islam, and we continuously keep sharing it with you. So last week we left off regarding about how the dead body is buried in Shiraz, and there is a lady named Lady Tashi who's there, and people are coming, the people of the city are coming, and they're visiting the grave, and all this nonsense, right? Now we continue. So there is a corner at this mosque, which is inside of a building, which is inside of another building. So to say by these guys, there's a corner where the visitors come and there's food for the visitors. And the reciters recite the Quran all the time. I mean, 24/7. There's somebody there who's going to be reciting this Quran in Arabic, of course. And the people living there are Persians. So the Persians don't speak Arabic. So when they come in there, they're hearing something along the lines of, that's what it sounds to them, because they don't understand what's going on, It's like talking gibberish. You talk a foreign language to a person that doesn't understand the language, they're going to be looking at you like, what you saying? What is it? But that's what's going on. Inside of this place, let me drink some water, excuse me. We have the Quran being recited, and the people there don't understand it. And this has been going on. And then we got another section where there's food. I mean, when you go to a place of worship, you tend to go there to worship. You don't go there because they're going to give you food. But apparently, there's a place for food. So people are sitting there eating, non-stop eating, because there's food. Among the habits of Lady Tashi, okay, it's her habit. She visited the shrine every Monday night. Why not Tuesday? Why not Thursday? Why is it on a Monday night? On that night, the judges, the jurists, and the noble came together. I guess maybe they're just following Lady Tashi. She might have, I'll give you some options. A, she smelled really nice, so people followed. B, she was wearing very revealing clothing, and everyone was following. C, She was like in the old movies of Hollywood where there were like those Amazonian giant women that, you know, they're like 100 feet tall and they walk and everyone is afraid for their life. So they huddle together and they watch. Maybe that's what they were doing. You pick which one you want out of the three, because I mean, there is no other reason why in Islam people will follow a woman into a place, especially if they're not related to that woman. The only reason you follow a woman is if she did something wrong and you're going to catch her and throw her in prison. Or you're up to no good and she's up to no good. So you take a pick. She smelled really good and it mesmerized the whole town, and the whole town just marched behind her like robots. We must go where she goes. Or she was wearing very revealing clothing and it mesmerized everyone, and everyone was like, shake what your mama gave you and we follow. Or she was an Amazonian giant, 100 feet tall, and they looked and they said, look at those legs. Look at that gigantic body. Look at that big head. And, you know, the other ones. So you pick which one of the three it was that on Monday night she would come out, and everyone, the judge, the juries, the noblemen, all of them came out. Shiraz, the city, Shiraz right here. I'm reading to you guys, follow me. According to the Ayatollah, the frog who wrote this book, Shiraz is the greatest of Allah's earth in having noble people. Now you might be thinking, what is this clown writing? What he meant to say is, Shiraz has the most amount of noble people of all cities in this earth that Allah created. Suppose. That is what he's trying to say. But as you can see, his English, or whoever translated this for him in English, obviously their English is very, very limited because it's full of mistakes. I mean, there's mistakes all over this. But now you got it, folks. It's not Beijing. It's not Los Angeles. It's not New York. It's definitely not going to be Toronto. It can't be Helsinki. It's not Moscow. It's not Houston. No, it's not Istanbul. You're wrong. It can't be Tehran. It's not Perth. It's not any other place but Shiraz. Okay, all noble people are in Shiraz. I mean, there are so many noble people in Shiraz. It's like matches in a matchbox, or you know, like sardines in a can. You know, they're just. If you come out of your house, you're gonna see another noble person. It's like all of them are there. You know. We don't have any other city in this world that has this many noble people. Yeah, it's not me saying, it's this guy saying, look, he wrote it. He then says he has heard from trustworthy that a number of the noble people who have high ranks, I mean, they're not just noble anymore. Now they're noble people with high ranks. I mean, just being noble alone means you have a high rank. You get to be a noble by having the high rank. But this retarded Ayatollah does not know what noble means. So now he's teaching you that there are noble people with high rank. By high rank, he means like they serve a big spot in authority, like kings and queens, governors and presidents, and the prime minister. They are your architects. They are your judges. They are your doctors. They are your surgeons. Nobles who have high ranks were in 1,400, and some is. What is some is? What does he mean? And some is. Some is what? Some is just half the sentence. Where is the rest of the sentence? Some is what? Some is retarded, some is poor, some is rich, some is wealthy, some is dead. I mean, what is he? And you can't say is, you should have put are. Some are. Some is. Some is, ladies and gentlemen, some is. The head is, now look, this is important stuff. The head of these noble, high rank people living in an Iranian city where the people speak in the Persian language, not Arabic, Persian. They're not the same people. The head of their people is Azad, meaning Azadullah. So his first name is, he's slave of Allah, Azadullah al-Din al-Hussein. So the guy has a 100% Arabic name, and he's going to be the head of all the noble people with the high rank in a purely Iranian city. Now you might say, well, you know a lot of Muslims who are not Arabs who have Arabic names. So how can Dr. Mossavat say this person is an Arab? Very easy. Your friends who you know are supposedly Pakistani, Afghani, Indonesian, Malaysian, from different cities or countries in Africa like Congo, Somalia, Ethiopia. You know, those people that you know, or Iranians, or people from Turkey or Bosnia. These people that you know, who have names like Muhammad or Alireza or Ali or Hassan or Hussein or Abdul Fattah or whatever, you don't find in front of all of their names two letters put together, which would be read as Al. You see, Al-Din, Al-Husseini, you see that? Only an Arab will put Al in front of their name. No Turkish person says, my name is Al-Muhammad or Al-Mustafa. No Iranian says, my name is Al-Alireza. No Pakistani will say, my name is Al-Ahmad. Only an Arab would do that. So in other words, according to this Ayatollah who's retarded, the leader of all the noble, high-rank individuals in an Iranian city is an Arab, an outsider. Then when we tell you they worship the Arab, don't get mad. We're telling you the truth. When the people are present in the blessed shrine, oh, now they're present in the shrine. Okay, what happens? What happens when they're present in the shrine? Tell us. They recite and finish the Quran. Okay, they recite and finish the Quran. Okay. The reciters recite, and then they put for you in bracket the Quran with a sweet voice. Okay. So they recited it with a sweet voice. Okay. What happened? I mean, you made it an emphasis to repeat it twice. That means that you are about to tell us something that happens. You know, you're going to tell us a miracle. Food fell from the sky. Gold came down. Silver came down. Well, the ground opened up and a giant lake showed up. I don't know. People's clothes got ripped off of them. Rocks fell from the sky and hit somebody in the head who was an unbeliever. Tell us what happened. Nothing. The people just come there and they recite. I mean, everybody goes to some kind of a structural building of some sort to worship the God that they believe in, and they recite, whether from a book or from what they've been taught verbally to say, some words that come out of their mouth, and then they leave. What is the significance in this? They're doing the exact same thing anybody else does. What's the difference between reciting the Quran at this guy's gravesite and the guy that recites it near the Kaaba in Mecca? What's the difference? They're both reciting Quran. What's the difference between the guy who's reciting it in your city today with this guy? They're reciting the Quran. He didn't tell us. He forgot to mention it. In the next paragraph, food, listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Food, fruits, and candy are brought. I guess he doesn't know that the candy and the fruits also fall under the category of food, because food is the big category. And then when you go under it, you can have subdivisions of what you're talking about: vegetables, fruits, meats, dairy, grains. You can break it down, but they're all food. But according to this guy, they're not. There's food, and then there's fruits, and then there's candies, okay? So I guess this guy, when he wants to eat, he has to eat like a whole entire deer, or, you have to bring him crocodiles from the Nile, or, something like that, that normal people don't eat as food, is food for this guy. And then there is fruits and candy. Don't forget the candy. I mean, candy. At that time, there was no candy. We're talking about 1,400 years ago. They didn't have candy. Candy is a very modern thing. In any case, when the people have finished eating, okay, a preacher, meaning one of these mullahs, one of their clergymen, preaches to them. Now, I grew up as a Muslim, as a Shia Muslim. I've been to all the mosques, as you would say. I've been to Shia masjids. I've been to Sunni masjids. I've even been kicked out of Sunni masjids because I was Shia. And, most of my life I've been in the West, though I've seen the ones in the East as well, but I've been in the West. So I've been in them. I've been in the Pakistanis. I've been with the Indians. I've been with the Iranians. I've been with all the Arabs. That includes Iraqis, Lebanese, Syrians, and the whole works. I've been to Hajj, seen them, Saudis up in person. Been to Turkey, seen those guys. Of course, when I was a kid in Iran, I've been around. I've been around a lot of these mullahs, and I've seen how they act live. I know them very well. I know they're not pious. I know that when they recite, majority of them, they'll give you a lecture, and then when it's time to pray, they run away. Somebody else leads the prayer. They're too busy to do the prayer. They got other arrangements. Especially in the Shia community. When Muharram comes along, the month of Muharram, and after that, month of Safar, or when the month of Ramadan, where they're supposed to fast and pray, when those months come along, these mullahs, let me tell you what happens. They'll show up and they'll give you a lecture before the evening prayer time. When the evening prayer time starts, they put on their shoes as everyone's going to go pray, and they're out the door. And if you catch them outside the mosque and you say, where are you going? I got other speaking arrangements. Because somebody invited him to his house. They're going to feed him, and they're going to give him like $500 to come and speak to a handful of people. And he's going to do that 2, 3, 4, 5 times during that night. Because he doesn't have to stop until right before the morning prayer. So he's going to continuously eat. They have an imsak, which is supposed to be when you cut off. But technically, you're allowed to pass that time until 5 minutes before the call of prayer for the Fajr prayer, which is dawn. So he's got up to 5 minutes to that. So he's going to go from house to house to eat and speak. Forget about the prayers. He's not going to do any worship prayers. He doesn't have to. Because no one's going to tell him, did you do it or not? So since he's not going to be questioned, he's just going to go jumping from house to house to house, feed his fat stomach, and collect the money. That's all the mullahs do. They don't pray. Now you can have a resident clergyman, a mullah for a mosque, and during the regular months, he'll show up for the Friday prayer. If he's there on a Thursday night, he'll lead the Thursday night prayer because, you know, he can't run away. If you've cornered him and he can't run away, you're lucky in a Shia mosque if you get 3 prayers out of a week out of this guy. That's nothing, because in a 1 day period, you're supposed to get 5 prayers. So 5 times 7 is, everybody knows, 35. Out of 35 worshiping prayers, you got 3 out of this guy. What happened to the other 32? Mullahs don't pray. They never pray. They pretend that they pray. Even in a lot of the Sunni mosques, Mullah doesn't come and pray. If he does, he shows up, he does it in 5 minutes. You late, you guys do your own. You know, he's not there. He's definitely not going to show up during the noon and afternoon. They don't show up. Apparently, though, the preacher came and preached for them. Shocking. He started at noon prayer. He started right after the noon prayer, right? So he ate with them. Remember, they were finishing eating. Remember, finished eating. They finished eating, and it became noon. Now, normally, people eat at noon. They don't eat before, because before it would be breakfast, which is in the early morning, or it would be brunch, which is around 10 and 11. And no one's going to show up for brunch, because in the Middle East, we don't have brunch. Brunch is only in the West. It's a West thing. You don't have brunch in the Middle East. People have to eat in the morning and then they go to work. No one has time between 10 and 11 to sit and have brunch. Doesn't exist. Just like most people in the West, they don't eat dinner, they have supper. Supper does not exist in the Middle East. We have dinner in the Middle East. You might say, what's the difference between dinner and supper? Supper is normally between 5 and 6. Well, dinner could be anytime from 8 to 12 o'clock at night. There's a difference in timing. That's why they're different named. So at lunchtime, they were eating. So let's say from 12 to 1, they just kept eating. They were eating food. They were eating fruits. They were eating candies, which did not exist. I don't know how they ate it. Anyhow, they were eating. At 1 o'clock, they finished eating. And now it's after the noon prayer time. He started talking until dinner. That means the 5 daily prayers for Islam are at these following times. Whether you're Shia or Sunni, you have 5 daily prayers that you're supposed to recite. You have your dawn prayer, which is Fajr. You have your Zuhur prayer, which is noon. You have your Asr prayer, which is the afternoon prayer. You have your Maghrib prayer, which is the evening prayer. And then you have your Isha prayer, which is your nighttime prayer. Now, whether you are Shia or Sunni, in your books, you have it that their prophet, Muhammad, prayed both, all of these 5 prayers separately at different times. And you have it where he prayed Fajr, the dawn prayer, separate. Then he prayed Zuhr, the noon prayer. And within a few minutes after it, prayed the Asr prayer, which is the afternoon. Then later on, he prayed the evening prayer, which is Maghrib. And a little bit after it, he prayed his Isha, which is the night. So either or can be done. So when the Sunnis tell you the Shias don't have 5 daily prayer, they're full of BS. They do have it. They just combine them like it's allowed according to Sunni rules. Sunnis frown upon it because both the Shia and the Sunnis agree that Muhammad has said, between the time of your prayers, whatever sin you do, if your prayer is accepted, the sins will be forgiven. Meaning, you did your noon prayer, and then after that, you went out and you fornicated some more, and killed people, and cut off their heads, and you did it all unjustly for no reason. And then you came and you did your afternoon prayer. If this statue, Allah, accepts your prayer, then all that you did from noon till afternoon is forgiven. Very easy. Because of this, Sunnis like to stretch it out so you have time in between, so you can get rid of your sins. The Shia think they want their free time to do what they want to do, so they'll just do them fast together, get rid of it, do it, finish it. You don't have to worry about it, and you can continue with whatever you want. And the Shia will tell you, well, in speaking, noon time is short, so right after it is afternoon. I mean, if you see somebody at 12:30 in the day, you're going to say to him, good afternoon. If you see him at 1 o'clock, you're going to say, good afternoon. You see him at 2 o'clock, you'll still say, good afternoon. Until the sun comes down, any of those hours, you're going to say, good afternoon. So going by that, They say if we finish it, we've done them on time, we got rid of it, we made sure everything's on time, and we go on with our business. Either way is okay, according to Islamic law, which I had to clarify for you, because most of you speaking in an English language, you don't know these things, and they don't cover it with you, so you don't understand. Anyhow, this guy, he missed his noon prayer, he missed his afternoon prayer, he missed his evening prayer, and now it's night time, because in the Middle East, most people don't have dinner until around 10, 11:30 at night. So pretty much the whole night is gone. So he missed 4 out of the 5 prayers. The only reason why we don't know about dawn prayer, because he wasn't there with the people at dawn. Sorry, I have a little bit of a sore throat. The lady is in a room. Which lady? Lady Tashi. She's in a room with a window towering over the mosque. The drums beat. Why they have drums? Nobody knows. Music is haram in Islam. And the trumpets. I don't know why they have trumpets either. I mean, it's haram. You can't have music. Music is haram. Look at the Taliban. They break people's musical instruments in Kabul, Afghanistan today. But these guys, they have, everything's there. You got guy with the drums. And you got a guy with the trumpet. Okay? So we got drums and trumpets blowing the gates of the shrine. Now the shrine automatically has gates too. It has gates now. I mean, it's a shrine over a little mosque, inside of a building, inside of another building, and now that building has gates. Soon they'll have to tell us it has walls too. We haven't reached that point yet. The gates of the shrine, just as this is done at the gates of the kings. Which king is he talking about? With this subject matter, we will end our talks about the biography of this great savior. He was inbred. His mother was also his sister. His father was also his grandfather. The guy did nothing in his life except gather people to go to war and cause the death and destruction of many from both sides, his own side and the other. He had a war where Muslim was killing Muslim. Then he ran with his tail between his legs until they finally caught him and killed him for his crimes of inciting war between Muslims. Instead of saying, let's have peace, let's grow, let's learn. We go to the next guy, the next child, Ishaq. Ishaq was given the nicknames Al-Amir and Al-Amin, meaning the leader. When you have a name like the leader, meaning you're the commander. When you're a commander, that means you got an army under you. So he also had an army to continue the war for his father, Musa al-Kazim, against the Abbasids. And Al-Amin, the trustworthy. Why? Because he was trying to gather people. So he was telling, trust me, trust me. I'm trying to guide you guys. I'm trying to take you to heaven. Trust me, trust me. Trust me, man. Come on. I got you, bro. I got you. In the book of Al-Rijal, written by Sheikh Al-Tusi, they're big guy. Sheikh Al-Tusi is a big guy. He's, for the Shias, Sheikh Al-Tusi is a really big name. He's like Ibn Kathir for the, Sunnis. He's like Al-Jalalain. He's a big name. He's one of the big scholars. He's a big fish. Big, like really big. Like, the size of a blue whale, really big. Only a name, of course, not physically. Has numbered him among the companions of Ali al-Rada. I mean, if you're going to say that Ishaq was amongst the companions of Ali al-Rada, my first question to you will be, what were you smoking when you wrote this? Ishaq is the blood brother of Ali al-Rada. Ishaq's mother is the sister of both Ishaq and Ali al-Rada, making Ali al-Rada his uncle and his brother. And then they come and they say he's a companion, like he's some friend, like you have a friend, you find a friend at work and he's your friend, you're companions of each other, you accompany each other to work, you accompany each other to home, you carpool together, you get in the same car together, you go shopping together, you might take a trip somewhere together if you can get the same days off, you're a companion. Or you met someone at the mosque and they became friends with you and you're a companion of each other. You accompany each other to the mosque. You accompany each other to your car to carpool home. You're a companion of each other. Then all of a sudden, this guy, who Ali al-Rada is his uncle and his brother, lost all rights to the uncleness and the brotherness, and now he just became companion. What was he smoking? In his book, Al-Kafi, Al-Khulaini. Al-Khulaini is another big name. Just like Al-Tusi, Khulaini is another big name. I mean, this book, Al-Kafi, that you see here, Al-Kafi, the book Al-Kafi is volumes. It's not one, it's volumes. I have them in English. They have the Arabic in it too. There's volumes of books. This for the Shia is like Sahih al-Bukhari for the Sunnis. Their number one book after the Quran that they go to, that has all their hadith and all their garbage in it, is Al-Kafi, followed by Al-Mizan, which for the Shias is like Sahih al-Bukhari for the Sunni. Most of what they get and they write and they rewrite is coming out of Al-Kafi and Al-Mizan. Al-Khulani has narrated in a tradition narrating from Ishaq, the authority of his uncle. His uncle is who? His own biological brother, Ali al-Rada. They come from an inbred pedophile family, and they want to teach the rest of us about worshiping God. And the guy, his father didn't even have the brain cells to say, this is my own daughter. I shouldn't get her pregnant. I shouldn't even be having sexual intercourse. Anyway, on authority of his uncle, which is his brother, on the authority of his grandfather, Jafar al-Sadiq, the stripper, who he never met because he wasn't alive when that guy was alive. Ishaq had daughters, of whom was Ruqayya. When you say of whom was Ruqayya, you're talking about one. But you said he had daughters. You should have at least told us more names. If you had said daughter without the S, we could say okay. You're talking about a bunch of girls and you give us one name? Who lived for a long time? I guess the rest died in a short time. Lived for a long time and died in Baghdad in the year 316 AH. Amongst his grandsons, Ruqayya's grandsons, okay? Amongst Ruqayya's grandsons, again, we're talking about many, is the pious one. Okay, the pious one. One. Pious one. Abu Talib al-Mehlus. And, see, there's an and. Abu Jafar Muhammad al-Surani. He told us there is one amongst the grandsons, and then he gave us two names. He told us there are many daughters and gave us one name. I don't think this guy understands what words mean. When you say daughters, you're talking about many, not one. And when you're talking about one, you're not talking about many. Rather, you're talking about one. You see, when I say the words in the Quran say, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, and they translate it as say, Allah is one, is wrong, because ahad is one of, meaning there are many. This is one of them. This is one of my pens. This is one of my pens. I don't have one pen. I have many pens. This is one of my pens. This is also one of my pens. I have many pens. But this is one of them. There's a lot of them. Huh? I got many pens. This is one of them. 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 Ahadun. I have lots of pens. Ahadun. 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 It looks the same way. They're talking about one, they show you many. They talk about many, they show you one. Who was killed in Shiraz? Now look, their grandmother lived in Baghdad, but they all die in Shiraz. I think this Ayatollah, he's stuck on Shiraz, you know. Shiraz is a nice city. You know, you go to Shiraz, it has a temperature similar to like Atlanta. You know, you go to Atlanta, Georgia, it's about the same type of weather. Normally, you don't have much snow. The weather is good. You don't have to wear too many layers of clothing when you come out because you're going to freeze. You know, it's an area in Iran. Iran is an area of land with limited fresh water. Even more limited now because of Islamic Republic of Iran, since they're digging into every single mountain you can find, and all the minerals from these mountains are falling into fresh waters, and all the fresh waters are now turning into salt water and other. So we have even more limited amount. Even more limited because Islamic Republic of Iran decided to make pipelines to take the waters from the rivers in the southern part of Iran and shift it towards Iraq and into Kuwait so that the people in Kuwait can grow grass out of sand and water it 24 hours a day so that it doesn't die in the desert climate, which grass is not supposed to be growing in. So all of Iran's water has to be siphoned out to other countries. And then inside Iran, people don't have drinking water. Thanks to Islamic Republic of Iran. The Arabs who are in charge. And this guy, he's stuck on Shiraz. I mean, everything's in Shiraz. Shiraz is the only city he knows. Everybody goes to Shiraz. If they don't go to Shiraz, they got to go to the province of Khorasan, which he calls Khurasan. Ishaq died and was buried in Medina. You see? You see? The father was buried in Medina. His daughter is buried in Baghdad. I mean, two different cities and two different countries. And then their kids are buried in a whole different country. These guys, they're like gypsies, you know, they just move around, it seems like. From city to city, they move around. When once their name comes out and everyone knows who they are, they got to run for their life, go somewhere else where nobody knows them. And then when the shit hits the fan, they run go to another place, you know. That's how they work. Ishaq died in Medina, 240 AH. Hamid Allah al-Mustawafi has mentioned that Ishaq died and was buried in Sawa, a city in Iran. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, people of all ages who's watching this program, first of all, if you're under 18, go away. Don't watch this program. Let your parents watch the program, and then they can relay to you what they feel you should know. So if you're under 18 and you're watching this program, go away. This program is not for you. If you're over 18 and you can handle it, we are going to teach you. First and foremost, in the Persian language, we don't have any letters that make a wa sound like a W does. We have a letter that makes a va sound like a V does. Arabs have the same letter, the same exact letter that we have in Persian that makes the V sound, except in the Arabic language, instead of it being a V, it makes a wa sound. Like here, Sawa. In Persian, the city is Sava. Now we have a Sava, but we don't have a Sawa. So if he's writing this as Sawa in an English language, and he's making sure that you know there's a W in there, then this city does not exist in Iran because we don't have a wa sound. So how could we have a city that we cannot pronounce? I mean, we can say wa, but in the Persian language, you don't have any words that have wa in it for you to say. Now, if this was written in Persian, someone would just read it as Sava and they would go along with it. But in English, they translated it and they put emphasis that this is not a V, it's a W, meaning that the name is supposed to be pronounced as Sawa, which doesn't exist in Iran. So I don't know where this guy's buried. We go to the next one, the next child, you know, Ismail, the sixth one. Ismail was amongst the great religious scholars. He was a scholar, of his time, and was the head of those Allah-fearing and religious. So he was one of those who feared this Allah for punishment, and because of that, he did righteous things. And you know what righteous things is in Islam? Let me list it. Killing other people, raping other people, stealing and looting what does not belong to you, breaking your fasts, lying, cheating. All of these are great things to do in Islam. You don't believe me? Go look at the Quran. Kill them where you can see them. Take what belongs to them. Your right hand can possess their women even if they're married. The list goes on. You know, rape them if you like them because they're your sexual slaves. he was appointed by Abu al-Saraya. Remember that Abu al-Saraya, the al-Saraya guy who died and he was fighting, and I told you this guy is an Iranian and he's fighting against the Abbasid Khalifa of the Arabs. He's trying to reclaim Iran, get it out of the grips of the Arabs. And they took his story and they changed it around and they tried to make it like he's fighting for Musa al-Kazim. Now we have Abu al-Saraya, meaning his father, okay? So his father went along and took the child, because Saraya is about the same age as Musa al-Kazim. So now he took the child of Musa al-Kazim, which would be like a grandchild to himself, which would mean at this time that we're talking about, this Ismail character, he should be somewhere around 4 or 5 years old. Okay, we're talking about Ismail, the 4 and 5-year-old child. Okay, Abu al-Saraya made him an emir over Persia. Now, Persians don't use the word emir historically for thousands and thousands and thousands, over 10,000 years. We've used the word Shah and Shahanshah. Shah means king. Shahanshah means king of kings, because even governors were kings and they were governed by a bigger king. That's the king of the nation. And then all the different provinces have their own smaller kings that are under the bigger king. Hence Shahanshah and Shah. We don't have emir, which is the Turkish butchering of the Arabic word of amir, which they call the emir. And he's supposed to be the one in charge. So how did this guy, Abu al-Saraya, take a 4 or 5-year-old child who's an Arab, he's not even Iranian, he doesn't speak the language of the people, and make him the king of these people, when that Persia was under the governance of the Abbasid Caliphate, and the Abbasid Khalifa were the emir of the time? I mean, none of what this guy says makes any sense. And why isn't it written in the history books? You know, that should be taught everywhere in the world, that there was an Arab emir instead of a Shah over Persia. Why isn't it in any kind of history books? In any language, English, Spanish, Portuguese, Persian even. It doesn't exist. No one's ever seen it. When the movement failed, he lived in Egypt. What movement? Let me tell you what it means in between the lines. What he's saying is they tried to put this guy in, and all the people of Persia at the time, they all came together. They put their foot in one boot. They bent this guy over, and they give him a boot in his butt, and he went flying like a cannon all the way in the air, and he went over the whole of Middle East, and he landed in Egypt. Okay, that's how it is. And then they all yelled in one unity voice, don't you ever try this S-H-I-T again. And because of that, then his children and grandchildren lived in it. Meaning they all lived in Egypt. They all got kicked out of Iran. They all lived in Egypt because no Iranian wanted this guy as the emir. According to the story, this guy is telling us the proof of his high position and piety. Remember, I told you the good work, the righteous work. The righteous work is killing, raping, stealing, cheating, right? The proof of his high position and piety is that when Yahya bin Safwan died, what is this proof? Somebody else dying. Because that guy died, he's a righteous man. Aha, see, he even agrees. Imam Abu Ja'far ordered him to pray over him. and he represented him in performing that prayer. Only in Islam do you find that you can die and people can pray for you before you were born, and people can pray for you after you're dead, and somehow someone can pay somebody so they can pray for you, even if that person can't say the correct pronunciation of the words that you need to say. And somehow you think that through that you kind of bought, and this Allah creature accepted those prayers and gave you heaven. Only in Islam. No other religion has this. Only in Islam. I mean, all the other religions have that you go and you pray to the dead, or you pray like a well-wishing type of prayer for a dead, but no one can do the worshiping prayer for a dead. Not Buddhist, not Hindu, not Christians, not Jewish, not Taoists. Nobody. There's nobody except in Islam. He wrote many books and narrated the authority of his forefathers. Some of the books being Kitab al-Tahira, purity; Kitab al-Salat, the worshipping prayer; Kitab al-Zakat, giving to charity; Kitab al-Siyam, meaning fasting; Kitab al-Hajj, meaning going and doing the main pilgrimage, kissing the black stone; Kitab al-Janaza, for the funeral; Kitab al-Talaq, for the divorce; Kitab al-Nikah, for the fucking. Okay, anyone who tells you this means just intercourse, they're wrong. Because Muhammad Qatam, their prophet, says, when you do nikah, it has to be by force. You have to hear that sound. Bang, bang. Like a XXX movie, where someone is being gangbanged by like 10 black men and they're just going at it. She's screaming her head off, and you can hear it from the other side of the neighborhood and city. That's what Muhammad's talking about. He's not talking about you put the penis in the vajayjay and you just take it out and okay, no, that's not what he's talking about. A lot of people downplay it to just that level. They're doing a disservice to you, and they're serving Islam. The Prophet of Islam says, when you do nikah, it has to be dahman, with force and fast, powerful. Don't let anyone teach you otherwise. Here we tell you the truth. So let's look at these up to this point. Let's look at, is this guy even qualified to do that? His first book is Purity. Purity, you have to be pure to write about purity. If you have sin, you can't teach others how to be pure. You have to be sinless to teach people about how to be pure. According to what we read, he feared Allah, so he was righteous. What was his righteous? Killing people. That was his proof. The proof of his piety was that Yahya bin Safwan died. So he's not pure. He can't teach us about that. His book on prayer, well, his forefathers were saying that he should pray for others and others should pray for him, meaning people were praying for him before he was born. People were praying for him after he died, meaning he didn't pray. Others prayed. So he couldn't have written a book on prayer when he doesn't know how to do the prayer. Siyam, fasting. When these guys don't fast, if they fasted, then the clergymen of today would fast with them, who are reading their books. Obviously, nobody's fasting. No one's praying. So he can't teach us about fasting. Book on Hajj, Well, you gave us the autobiography of this guy. He never went to Mecca to do the pilgrimage. He was busy fighting. What is he going to write about Hajj when he was busy fighting? Book on funerals. Well, apparently this guy, some say he died in Shiraz, some say he died somewhere else, some. And all the people that died, he didn't bury them. These guys all took off when they see that their numbers are low and they had to be chased like a cat chases a mouse to get him. So what did he write? He doesn't know anything about funerals. And divorce, don't even get me started on divorce, because this guy and his father, they inbred into their own household. They take their own daughters and they rape them when they were children, committing pedophile, rape, incest. That's how he came out. He came out of rape, pedophile, incest. What does he know about marriage that he's writing from his forefathers? Is he teaching you how to rape, do pedophile, and incest? And then a book about fucking. He's going to teach you about fucking. That's the only thing he's knowledgeable on. That's the only thing this family is knowledgeable on. From all the way from the uncles and grandparents of Muhammad, coming all the way down to this guy, that's all they know. All they know is rape, incest, pedophile, fucking. That's it. They don't know anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, we will stop here because that's where we stopped in the Persian language. We will continue the rest of it next week. If you believe that you're learning from our channel, if you believe it's interesting, if you believe you're learning stuff no one else will teach you, because we dominate what is about the Shia sect of Islam, and most others dominate when it comes to the Sunni sect, though we can all speak about it. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget, use your finger, click on the subscribe button, and when you send out this and share with others, tell them to press the subscribe button so we can enlighten more people, so we can grow people in thinking and learning what this religion truly is, so they don't fall for it, so they don't get trapped in it. Until next week, I leave all of you in the hands of Jesus. God